Charles Bukowski. Howard, this guy's brilliant, man.
Well, what did he do?
He went for like 3 hours.
3 hours of talking?
Yeah, I mean, he never stopped in the middle, never took a pause. I mean, the guy is just like...
How's his ass?
I knew it would come to that. I mean, the guy, he's got like some really interesting things to say.
Right. And what did he say that was so intelligent?
For 3 hours.
Well, I took some notes.
Yeah.
I took some notes.
What did he say?
I'm thinking right offhand. A lot of it's like comedy.
Did you check out his physique? He's very muscular.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's big.
Yeah, right.
The guy's big.
Is he tan?
No, he's not tan.
How come he doesn't tan? I mean,
I don't know why he doesn't tan.
Are you going to stop tanning because he doesn't?
No, what? No, I don't tan. I put the lotion on. It's good.
Yeah, and what did and so when you were staring at Henry for the whole night, was it mostly men in the audience or women?
It was a mixture of both. He sold out Town Hall,
right.
Which is huge.
Well, yeah, he's a star.
Wow.
So what did he say?
I took notes.
Nothing impressed you so much that it stayed in your head.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of material to.
What did he say that impressed you? There must have been something that stuck with you.
Man,
you sat in the audience and took notes about what Henry Rollins was saying?
Well, yeah, I was going to give them to you, so you know what to talk about.
And you don't remember one thing he said?
Well, I wrote it down. That's why.
But it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Nothing stuck in your head.
Well, because now you put me on the spot. The guy talked for over 3 hours, and I'm supposed to remember something now. Wait, hold on. Let me think.
One thing.
One sentence.
He was brilliant, Casey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do you remember that?
I remember him. He was telling a story about how he took Viagra for the first time.
Okay, and what was that?
Well, he was talking about how he was getting older.
Yeah.
And now he's like in his 40s, getting gray hair and everything like that. So he decided to try the Viagra.
Right.
And I think he tried it by himself just to see what would happen.
All right.
A loser.
Well, he wanted to try it, yeah. And not everyone can get a woman.
He says you should never try and get an erection with tears in your eyes. He was standing by himself in the bathroom.
Genius.
No, that's a funny story. That's a funny story.
Brilliant.
But everything.
This guy, he is
brilliant.
Will you let me get my notes?
You get your notes.
Hold on.
All right.
He doesn't remember a thing of that brilliant
Bring
talk.
him in.
Wow. You know what? Henry Rollins actually has funny stuff to say, but
Not Casey.
not Casey interpreting the words of Henry Rollins. All right, here he comes. Here's his notes. Go ahead.
Okay, the one thing that I really liked is he says, people say that life is short. Life is not short. Life is long. It's too long.
Right.
And
well, that's what they say.
That's not supposed to be funny. Then
and it isn't.
And then another thing that he went on was about serial killers.
Right.
That was
great.
the brilliant thing, that life is too long?
No, but that's the premise. I'm just giving you the premise.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I can't explain. I'm not doing his act.
Right, go ahead.
I'm just explaining.
Yeah.
So he says serial killers. He watches like A&E.
Right.
And they always say one of three things. He says either they blame someone else for what they did.
Right.
They totally deny it. Or the third one is they find Jesus, which is a load of crap. And he went off on that for a long time. I'm just giving you what he's saying. Which I think was great.
I'll wait for him to come in. All right, we're going to take a break.
Oh, there's one more.
Yeah.
He says any band that has an orchestra, that hires an orchestra, has a huge ego and it's way out of control.
What do you mean? When Metallica hired a 70-piece orchestra?
Yeah, that makes
bad?
a lot of sense to me.
It was a great show. I saw that
that's
show.
a bunch of crap.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because they... get out of here. I'll talk to him.
All right, I'm gone.
All right. We'll be back right after these words.
Ronnie, what's going on today?
Henry Rollins is here. We're going to bring him in. That's
right.
Casey's idol.
All right.
So should we bring him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Mr. Rollins, right this way. Just follow the cameras.
Good morning. How's it going?
Got a men's room in here?
Yeah, right, we're almost there.
You follow me in there too?
Yeah, if you want.
We got Henry Rollins here. He has a new spoken word album called Rollins in the Rye.
Put your headphones on and just get real close.
This is the guy who got thrown off Jay Leno for speaking his mind. Did you know that?
No, I did not know. What did he say?
This is the guy who also gave a 3-hour, sort of lecture last night that KC went to.
Is that what's on the spoken word?
And there is Henry Rollins, who, by the way, is in really good shape, which I need help with. I've been in the gym lifting. Hey, Henry. Nice to see you.
He always looks like he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Henry's an intense guy, man. He had a horrible childhood. True, Henry? I'm not saying anything.
I had a great childhood.
I thought that you had always said that you had just been no relationship with your father. Your mother, I don't know about your mother, but I know your father you didn't see for years, right?
Oh, no, just the classic dysfunctional American upbringing, Howard.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, it's hard, right? I mean, you didn't have an easy time of it, and weightlifting saved your life.
Well, yeah, it definitely gave me a sense of having some confidence, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, weightlifting worked for you. I pump iron. I got arms like a pencil. How is that possible? I'm doing clean and jerk. I'm doing snatch.
Clean and jerk.
I think you'd probably doing more of the jerking, Howard.
I'm doing more jerking than cleaning.
Yeah. But if you approach the weights like a man, maybe you'd get somewhere.
Explain that to me.
Well, you have to hit it with some tenacity, and you can't do it for a little while. Do you have an instructor?
Yes. And
do you do what he or she tells you to?
Yes, and
Are you one of those people who visualizes the muscle growing as you pump the iron and all that stuff?
No, I just get in there and work real hard and leave. But
can I tell you something? You're talking about intensity is what I think you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And I work out with this guy, Marco Battaglia. He's an
intense.
He's an NFL player. You know, he's a football player. He's a big guy like you. And he's intense, and I try to keep up with him. I can't do as much weight as he does, but I can keep up with him. I mean, I do all the weight training. I go in there very seriously. I don't clown around or anything, and nothing changes.
And
nothing.
you've been doing it for years.
I got a gut. I seen you with your shirt off in concert. You don't have an ounce of fat.
Well, maybe you do you look at your diet?
Yes. I cut down on the carbohydrates. What do you eat for breakfast? I'm curious.
Usually a Metrex bar.
That's
it.
Yeah.
But you're a big guy. What do you weigh? 200 what?
Like 190.
190.
195.
And you're telling me you're not hungry after a Metrex bar?
Yeah, I am, but then I eat a few hours later. I try and eat like small meals all through the day instead of any big meal at any time.
Please take me through a typical day of what you eat. I'm being serious. I need to know.
All right. Let's see. Wake up in the morning and do a Metrex, and then usually if I can get a fruit salad or a yogurt, something like that, and then something till usually lunch. If I'm home in L.A., it's a can of tuna fish and a thing of fresh squeezed orange juice.
No bread.
No, I never buy bread in the store.
No pasta.
No, too lazy to cook it.
All right, can of tuna fish for lunch, something like that, and then you eat a snack
and
before
orange
dinner.
Juice.
Yeah, that's a good lunch meal for me. The tuna and the orange juice, because you get lean carbohydrates, lean protein, and it does make you fall asleep by 2 in the afternoon. And then usually there's some kind of pre-workout meal, like a Metrex, something, Metrex protein shake. And then I hit the workout, and then I'll eat, soup and a sandwich.
How long is the workout?
Whatever.
A soup and a sandwich, a turkey sandwich, or something like that.
Usually just the soup and maybe a handful of blue corn tortilla chips.
And
But is that before or after the workout?
After the workout.
That's like 2 hours later.
Okay.
All right, I don't understand something. You're not starving? I mean, you're starving yourself, true?
No, I'm never hungry.
You feel satisfied from just what you explained to me.
Yeah, it's also your metabolism too. Maybe you just have your metabolism. You should have a diet that is more for your metabolism. You should see somebody and they'll.
I'm seeing somebody.
Does he run?
Karen Carpenter ate more than Henry, and Henry's got
She
packed,
died.
dense muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I cannot figure this whole thing out.
Does he run or something?
Do you run?
Yeah.
No, for me, aerobics is band practice because we go in there and hit it real hard in a small room, and the practices go pretty long, especially before a tour. We're in there like a solid month, like it's a gig. We play longer than normal shows, actually.
Yeah, I've seen you on stage. Your stamina is incredible, but the only thing that you do in the gym is these weights.
Yeah, I work out in my garage at home. I just have a bunch of weight in the garage, deadlift platform, and a squat rack, and
that's it. The basic exercises.
Yeah, I do the 3 basic lifts. Well, the 2 basic lifts, squat and deadlift. Bench for a lot of people isn't a real lift, but I bench and I do a lot of shoulder work, overhead work, just like the caveman, the real deal. Simple
push-ups,
compound exercises.
simple things.
Yeah, which is all you need. Really,
You don't need those fancy machines.
I am
some
telling
of the
you, I'm
machines
doing
are
the
good.
same thing as Henry Rollins. I'm doing it. I swear to you. I know you're looking at me and you're saying this can't be.
Well, you don't look out of shape.
No, I'm not out of shape, but it's not pretty. it doesn't look like a guy who works out.
How old are we, Henry?
Yes.
Well,
How old are we?
have you gone schizophrenic on me, dear? I'm 40.
40 years old.
Yeah.
And are you freaking out that you're 40?
No.
I mean, you started out, you're a young man, the rock and roll business, a young man's game.
I'm too cynical to be to have a midlife crisis. I think I jaded myself right through my midlife crisis. Look at me. I have a lot of gray hair, like a lot of gray hair. And in my business,
Will you ever dye your hair?
No, never. I can't be bothered. But
You let it gray. You let it go gray.
Yeah, sure.
It is great.
I mean, why would I want to diet?
Well, maybe you want to look young. You're in a rock and roll business.
Well, see, that's just the thing. It's if you're like 23 now, it seems that you're old, you know?
Yeah.
So, and you're in the entertainment business. It's all about youth. And so more the people I admire, you're more like your Tom Petty's and your Bob Dylan's, who it's music over looks, because no one's hiring them for their looks. You're hiring them because they're writing some good material and they're staying with it and they're true to their art. So I never really cared about the looks. I mean, I like being in shape just because I don't want to have a heart attack.
Right.
But I don't care if my hair's gray, because people say it all the time. You should dye your hair. I'm like, well, I can't be bothered.
Do you think you're not having a midlife crisis because you did everything when you were young? I mean, you did it all. I mean, you banged probably lots of women. True. You got that all out of your system. You made a lot of money.
All the way
you're still getting it out,
but you're still doing.
But you're still banging the women. But you know what I mean. You've lived life to the fullest. You strike me as a guy who will absolutely do anything he wants.
Sure. But I don't know if you've ever found this, but the more I go, the more I see that there's cool stuff to do.
Right. And so you're not worried. You're not. What about you have worked so hard on your body, inevitably we all end up looking like Clint Eastwood does now. That guy was in great shape, but then when you hit 70, it kind of all falls apart anyway.
It's 70. I mean, the body always withers, so you might as well strengthen your mind and your spirit, because the body's, that's going to go. I mean,
sometimes your mind goes too.
My mind went a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Reagan years.
Yeah.
So is that what you are? Are you a Democrat? Do you consider yourself
I would always vote for what I think is the person with the best idea, and this time around I thought they're both silly.
So you didn't vote?
No. I just either one of them I didn't think was the guy for the job. I like Donald Trump. I thought he was cool when he gave that line to Larry King when he said, "I can get a first lady in 24 hours." When asked, how come you don't have you won't have a first lady? He's, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I like that swagger, and the reason he could do that because he knows he's not running, so he can tell the truth.
Right.
And you can't tell the truth and run for office. And so I liked it. He knew he wasn't going to run. He's just having fun.
Now, when you say tell the truth, I don't know. I didn't see the Tonight Show episode where you got thrown off. Did they ever air it?
The Tonight Show where I got thrown off?
It says Jay Leno banned you from the Tonight Show or kicked you off the show?
Well, all I know is I was on there fairly often, and one time I was on there with Kathy Ireland, that utter moron, and she has one of these ridiculous fitness videos, and she knows about as much about fitness as I know about rocket science.
Right.
And she's up there doing her thing, and Leno's bored, and I'm bored. And so at the end of the show, I grabbed her fitness video off Jay's desk and start smashing it into the corner of his desk while I make it do little aerobic moves. But he's got to do the last thing where he holds up to the camera and get her video.
Right.
And he grabs it from me.
Uh-oh.
And it's all dented from the corner of his desk.
Right.
And I thought it was great. Everyone in the crowd's going, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's giving me this look of total horror. And then the last thing he said to me was, "Would you ever consider guest hosting this show?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Every day." And that was the last time I was ever asked to be on that show.
Was he afraid of you? Because you're a scary guy.
No, he was very cool to me, and I was always very cool to him. He's a very friendly guy. I'm sure you've met him a bunch of times.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He's cool?
Yeah, so, but they've never invited you back on. I would think after something like that, they invite a guy on who's kind of wild, and then when you get wild, they get scared of you.
I think maybe Jay's people want someone who kind of is a little calmer and kind of toes the line, because all the other guests, they are really tame and polite. I mean, I met some nice people. Like Brooke Shields was really cool to me.
Really?
Yeah, she was real friendly, man. I didn't know what she'd be like, and she
Bright
was really
girl?
cool. Yeah, she was really cool, and she has a good handshake, and she didn't condescend to me at all. She was really straight up.
She was sweet.
This on camera that you smashed the video?
Oh yeah,
Of course,
I was
you're not
hoping
gonna
the
see
camera
that.
was catching it.
You're not going to waste that bit off camera.
Oh yeah, and then Simple Minds were playing that day, and I went up to the front of the stage knowing that all the cameras are on the band, and I screamed into the crowd, "This expletive deleted is weak," and everyone went, "Yeah!"
Right.
And
You are critical of other bands. There's no sort of hey, I'm not going to criticize a band because I'm in the music industry. You have like I am irritated. I read that you said you were irritated by Bono from U2, and
irritated.
I am.
I would like to see his life shortened.
Right.
That bad.
I find him irritating too, but I'm not sure exactly why.
Because he's okay. In his band, he has the weakest rhythm section ever known in a multi-platinum band. The drummer can't drum, the bass player can't play, the guitar player has one riff.
Right.
The singer is this utter buffoon who should be in a bar,
swaggering,
just crooning. And the new album, That Which You Leave Behind, is the most tired, adult-oriented crap I've ever heard since the last Sting record, and it's utterly pap.
Right.
And when you have to write a song like "When I Look at the World," it says, "Hello, I have nothing left to say."
So do you despise a guy like that more than, let's say, like an NSYNC or Britney Spears? At least they're up front with what they are.
I got no problem with Britney Spears or NSYNC, really, just because that kind of stuff has always been around,
It's
and
pop music.
And they're not calling it anything more than just some fun. That's why I didn't mind the Spice Girls; they're just fun.
Right.
But Bono thinks he's changing the world with his music.
He thinks he's Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and if
You don't
had a
like
tenth-
Sting either?
I just think I liked one time we used to have a guy at my book company who loved your show, and every morning I come in the office, he's got you guys going.
Right.
And you had Sting and his moron wife on, and you
Trying to save the rainforest.
and you kept triggering that one soundbite of her when she stupidly opened her mouth at the fashion dude's funeral and said, "Some people say fashion can change the world. Well, they're wrong." And you just kept playing it over and over again because it shows her out for the utterly pompous idiot that she is.
Right.
And I said, "Right on, Howard. I kind of liked you for a minute there." And
it happens once in a while.
well, you're
Right.
growing on me.
Yeah,
you know?
once in a while I can be okay.
Yeah, and you were good, man. And those two are just, too much money and not enough Day of the Jackal, them in the crosshairs and the bullet finding the mark for me.
Right. Yeah, in other words, you've always been raw and honest about everything. I mean, to the point even when you're feeling violent, rather than keep that a secret, you're open about it. You've talked about you want to kill people, you want to skin them alive, you want to.
Well, I'm always up front with my emotions. I try and be an emotionally open person for a male in his 40s.
Yeah, but Henry, couldn't some people be enjoying life and life looks that way to them?
Well, I'm enjoying life too.
In his own way, he is.
But I'm just saying,
You're
can't
just
you
doing-
have a little room for the guy who's a little peppy and it's a beautiful day?
I get angry about people though too. It's very, people say I'm too negative, but some people irritate the crap out of me.
Well, good.
I mean, what
don't
am I
think-
supposed to do about that?
I don't think you should hold back.
Right.
See, I think if you hold back, you get cancer.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
It remains to be seen.
Right. Okay. Now, I wasn't kidding around when I said that you had a tough childhood. You were sexually abused, right? Or do I have that wrong?
I had some interesting experiences with some of my mother's boyfriends. They were
Really?
little. They kind of were beyond the pale, but it didn't.
Isn't it great when your mom
A little
decides to get a
touchy-feely
boyfriend
with
and he comes home and he's more
He wants
interested in
you?
you? I mean,
they weren't the nicest guys, but it's not one of those things where it made me seek out a life of drug addiction and cutting my body up and wanting to hang myself. I never.
you never got that.
No, it never made me go there. I just noted by like ninth grade, I was like, okay. Parents are cool, and
Right.
I'll just, when I'm 18, I get to leave. And I just kind of did my time, and I hit the adult world, and I split.
But
you don't-
how old were you when the last time?
Oh, I was a little kid, and, I never really told anybody about it.
Yeah.
But, in the books I write, it would slip out. I would
Uh-huh.
get called on it. I'd answer the question.
We were kidding around before about what you said last night at your 3-hour show. But
It went a little long.
It went a little long.
Now, do you just sort of riff up there, and as long as you're feeling it, you stay?
Precisely.
You just talk off the cuff. Mm-hmm. No prepared notes, nothing.
No, but I definitely, like on this tour, I definitely have a map in my head where I want to go. But yeah,
And-
I'm just up there jamming.
Isn't it a lot more difficult than singing than to just get up there and just start speaking your mind?
It's like pure uphill. I love it, but it's a total drain. It's so hard.
So you had an audience full of people, evidently a full house. People just
Yeah.
sat there and listened for 3 hours while you gave your view of the world.
Yeah.
And when you were
Well,
giving
people sitting when you do yours, so people are digging it. So yeah.
I think it's harder to look at their faces, though, because if you see somebody drifting off and stuff, it makes you lose confidence in what you're saying. But you don't care. You just go ahead and say whatever's on your mind.
Well, no. Sometimes, the other night I was doing a show, sold out show. Everyone was cool, and there's one guy. Everyone around's laughing, having a good time. Except one guy,
Right.
arms crossed, staring at me the whole time, like, oh man, he distracted me.
Yeah.
Totally threw me out.
And you couldn't go on, or you just...
No, I was fine, but I'm like, yeah, everyone is happy except for like the huge man in the middle of the show, who, like took up the entire gig.
See, I would think you don't even care if people like you or
I
not.
totally care.
You do.
Sure.
And do you start talking just to that guy, trying to get him?
but if
I
you-
do.
If you've ever
Yeah, I
done like
know,
a
that's
live
your
gig
MO.
where you're talking, you
Yeah.
use people's faces as monitors,
Right.
And if you get that guy going, then you know you're doing okay. And you always see like a couple of people in your periphery, and they're laughing. You know you're hitting, or you know they're engaged and checking you out. But this one guy wasn't having it, and I noticed he scowled more the more his girlfriend laughed. So I kind of saw where that was going.
Why would a masculine man like yourself, a guy who obviously pumps iron and is in good physical condition...
Eats beef jerky, rides horses.
Right, but why
Yeah.
would you take Viagra?
Me?
I would be afraid to take it.
Whoa! Take it easy, Howard.
Casey said last night
Howard,
that you said...
you're a little high on your caffeine.
Am
this
I
morning.
really? Does Casey have it wrong?
No. I told the audience that I was interested to see how I'm being marketed to as an adult in the world by what I was getting as spam email.
Right.
So I was getting like the filthiest sluts on the internet are yours, double click here. And so I didn't double click on them, and then so they eventually go away. And then weeks later, I started for like 6 weeks. I got this incredible campaign. Get Viagra discreetly online.
Right.
I went, oh no, am I in that demographic that needs help, functioning? And so I did this whole thing about, do I need Viagra? I thought that was like Charlton Heston.
And you see how stupid KC is. He's interpreted that he said you did a bit that you took Viagra. This is what he told us.
Oh no, I never do Viagra.
But how does he interpret this? He goes.
Was it KC?
KC goes, Henry Rollins
got
got
the son of Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band. Maybe he's got some residual cocaine in his blood.
Maybe because Casey
just hire stupid
Casey,
people.
how do you get that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood, but I thought he was doing the bit like.
Did you buy some merchandise from my booth on the way out of my show?
No, I didn't.
Then why don't you take a lap around the damn block until you come to your senses?
Casey is your biggest fan, man. I mean, this guy's in love with you.
Get it right.
Well, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Whatever.
Casey,
he's pissed that I misunderstood.
Well, if you're going, I mean, you got it completely wrong. You said he used Viagra.
Well, he was telling a story, and I thought it came from personal experience.
And you said that he used it on his own. You didn't use it with a girl, and that you was there, standing there.
In a mirror
You were
crying.
standing in front of a mirror crying.
No, as I said, the concept is when you're inspired, it's
Right.
easy to get an erection when you're with the one you want to be with, or
Right.
the one you paid to be with, whatever it is that you.
Do you
you're
pay for
doing.
sex?
Me? Oh no.
You've never paid for it your entire life.
I would
Never gone to a prostitute.
No, that would offend me down to my very Nietzschean Darwinian core.
You would hate to pay for
If
it.
you have to pay, if you cannot get some by the sheer force of your personage, then you are no longer a warrior. You are the village elder who, grinds the grain. So when the hunters come back from the field with bloody lion heads in their hands, you are there to give them their gruel.
I agree with you.
If you pay,
Casey, did you understand
You
that?
do not.
Henry doesn't pay and doesn't take
He'll
Viagra.
come back and say he told a story about going to a prostitute.
That's right.
All right, so I took it out of context.
Henry says that you're supposed to take Viagra when you pay for sex. I mean, you get it completely wrong.
All right, I got it wrong.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
unreal. I mean,
Were
the
you high
guy's
last night?
the guy's pretty clear on what he's saying.
But to be insulted by this guy is an honor for me.
Yeah, I know you're in love with him. You're in love
I'm
with
not
him.
in love with him, but
You're pretty much in love with him.
I gotta love the guy.
You get a lot of guys who are in love with you. I mean, that's a lot of the rock and roll world. You go to a show, it's mostly guys standing there and worshiping you. Is that a little freaky?
Well, no, I've been hit on by a lot of guys, actually.
Really? And do you get
Sure.
offended by that, or are you
No.
complimented? I would be complimented.
No, it's a total compliment.
I've never been hit on by a guy because I'm a freak, but I'm saying that I would love to be. I mean, why not? Let a guy say I'm good looking. I'm not offended by
That's
that.
the first people who ever showed interest in me when I was working this movie theater when I was a kid at like 14, 15 years of age. I was
Gay men?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
left and right. What are you doing later? I'm going home. I'm in 10th grade. You want to come to this party? No. And they would say, well, here's what, and they would show me these Polaroids. Here's what we're doing at these parties. I'm like, I can't believe you got a Coke bottle in there, sir.
Wow, yeah,
I'll never forget that
It's pretty
photo.
mind-blowing. But what about you now personally? I mean, I heard you live in a modest house. You made some pretty decent money in rock and roll and writing
I
books.
wish.
You
I
haven't?
do okay.
Are you not a wealthy guy? You're a millionaire.
It's not like I'm one of the Chili Peppers.
Right.
But I don't wonder where the rent money's coming in. I'm covered.
You're covered for the rest of
Sure.
your life.
No.
You're
oh,
not.
no.
You
I
still
got
have to work.
No, well, luckily I like working.
Right.
I'd work 8 days a week if I could. But no. I don't have any kind of money like I can step off. But I have a house I live in. I got a car that works, and the rent is paid. The mortgage is paid.
And it's a modest home. I heard you got your weights and all that.
It holds one person. It would be kind of rough on a family. But
Would
it holds a guy.
would you ever start a family? Would you share your life with a woman?
No.
You will
Never
not.
been
No.
married.
Why?
Well, because I love kids.
Right.
I play with my manager's kids, and I like them, and I like women.
Right.
I just don't want to be tied to a kid, because if I'm going to have a kid, I'm going to get off the road and be the kid's father and be there.
You have to be responsible.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that guy who sometimes comes home. And I've noticed with married rock and rollers, either the marriage fails or the music fails. And so you got to give yourself to one master, and for me, it'll always be the art.
You're a workaholic in a way.
Yeah.
And the women you date now, are these women primarily that you pick up at the shows because they worship you? Do you need that kind of worship, or are these women?
Well, it comes in handy every once in a while, like a can of 3-in-1 oil or some WD-40.
You need that for your
Or that AAA card. hard.
It makes you feel good when you have somebody totally worshiping you, right?
Well, if they're worshiping a certain part of you, yeah.
Right. So you're not
You
opposed
do the groupies.
to doing the groupie thing.
I have partaken in that celebration.
Do you also have relationships, or do you just...
I've had girlfriends, absolutely.
Do you get any of
Sure.
these famous girls? I would think
I would rather have a girlfriend than a groupie.
Right. And but my point is, when you get one of these girlfriends, I would think you being famous, it must be great to be with a famous chick. I would think that's the
I've
ultimate.
dated a couple of people who, are in the music or, movie or whatever world where they get recognized too. But
Right.
I've found most of those people are just so busy with their career and their whole thing that you just kind of end up swapping itineraries and you don't really see each other.
Right. And you want somebody who's around.
Well, see, I would want someone who's around, but I wouldn't want to put someone through me not being around. I mean, how can I be a good boyfriend if I'm on the road 9 months a year and they say come home? I'm like, you're out of your mind. I don't want to come home.
Let's go to Mike. Take a couple of questions from the audience.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, Henry Rollins' new album is Rollins in the Rye. This is a spoken word album. See Henry Rollins' special on Comedy Central. I didn't know you were doing a special on there. This is a comedy show?
No, well, it's just they taped 2 of the shows I did last year in London. They made it into one show, and Comedy Central's been playing it. God bless them.
Right.
Could you work up some cliff notes for KC so he knows what's
He doesn't understand you.
Yeah. I'll give him some short notes so we can have it together next time around.
I'm tempted to read the rest of his notes
Yeah,
he gave me a whole. He took notes.
Could be way
He
off.
sat there and wrote down notes while you spoke. But go ahead, Mike. You're on the air.
Howard, thanks a lot. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener. I really love your show.
Thank you.
But I wanted to tell your guest, I think he's probably the brightest, most articulate, and coolest guy I've ever heard on the radio on your show in my life.
Now, Henry
That
knows what
blows
he's
my
talking
mind.
about.
He tells the truth. He tells it like it is. That's very refreshing.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's real good. What is it, Casey? I gotta look through the rest.
I was going to defend my notes, man.
Yeah, let me take a look at this. Let's see. Every
You're
commercial for
great.
medicine on TV is followed by 10 seconds of the scary crap the drug can do to you. Well, that is true.
Yeah, they
That's
always
accurate,
tell you
right?
the
Did he have that right?
Oh, well, I was just talking about those new pharmaceutical ads where it's like a 60-second ad, and the first 10 seconds is the virtue of the drug, and then you have the...
And then they scare the hell out of
And
you.
then the session guy can read like 90 words a second come in, rectal bleeding, hair loss, plot loss, balding, seizures. And you're like...
And may destroy
what
your
are they
liver.
selling
Yeah.
me?
I know.
Don't take it if you're using heavy machinery, if you're awake, if you're functioning, driving, pregnant, alive... Republican. It's incredible. I thought the medical world was supposed to
You're
get
right.
you happening. Now they just want to kill you.
It's very, very scary what it can do to you. So you got that right, Casey.
Okay.
Not bad.
All right, so I'm doing all right. And
One for one.
for two.
Everyone
One
works.
for one.
Everyone who works at GNC looks terrible. Did he get that right?
Well, I just said you go into health food stores and everyone behind the counter either they're eating a Burger King hamburger or their skin is sallow and their hair is falling out and they're like, can I help you?
Scary when you get advice from them. Craig was saying that you had some thoughts on Marilyn Manson, that he heard you speak about him and that you weren't too thrilled with him.
Oh, I got no problem with Marilyn. I mean, I like him in interviews. I think he's a really articulate
He seems like a
guy.
real honest guy,
yeah,
right?
Well, and he seems like he's pretty funny. There's one thing that I just saw him play it. We played a festival years ago, and it was just kind of funny to watch him do his thing in the daytime because the lights don't work and the smoke was blowing off stage,
Right.
so it looked like a bad cookout.
Right.
And he's doing his thing, and without the show, it's just kind of rock and roll with these guys kind of overacting, it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show on testosterone shots.
Right.
But the other day I was watching VH1. It was like, Homes of the Stars, and they're in his place, and he's showing these very cool paintings he had done. And right on cue, he's in the kitchen or something, and his mother calls. So here he is in his makeup, the Antichrist, he's all heavy duty, and he's like, "Hi, Mom." And I was, you know what? My stock in Marilyn Manson just like plummeted. If he's gonna be the Antichrist, don't get called by your mom.
Right.
I mean, I'd be, if my mom called and I'm Marilyn Manson, I would be saying like, "Mom, don't take this personally. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you." You're
Right. Stick to the character.
Yeah, stay in character. If you're gonna wear the makeup and the wig and wear these silly outfits on stage and say all this heavy duty crap,
If you're going to walk the walk, talk the talk.
Stay
Right.
at least act out your little image you're doing.
Right, because that could blow it all. Mark, you're on the air.
Blew it for me.
Yeah, Howard.
Yeah.
Listen, Henry Rollins, the scariest man alive. I banged a chick that was his girlfriend in L.A., this wild, wild broad. I had anal with her, crazy sex, 3-on-1, And I figured if I was doing that with her, God knows what he was doing with her.
Huh?
I'm sure
If I was banging her and doing that kind of stuff, the Rollins must be doing God knows what.
I picture you being not a sensitive guy in bed. I think you like rough sex. I picture you going like completely animal.
Me, you know,
I don't think a woman has an easy time of it.
There's nothing in me that wants to hurt a woman.
No, I don't mean hurt her, but I think you.
No. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
He makes love, is what he's saying.
Yeah, I like the being nice to the girl part. I don't like pulling someone's hair or tying him up or like like
all the stuff I do.
hitting them so hard they have to bite the pillow out of pain.
I see.
That
so it's
stuff
not.
never
So that's your image, but it isn't necessarily.
No, I like the idea of vigorous.
That's what I mean.
Fun, enthusiastic, spirited. Yes,
But you want her to be there with you.
Well, yeah, and I want her to get off too.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Well, that's what I mean. You want her to be excited
I've been
too.
with women who want you to go way harder core.
Right.
Like you do this, you're like, no,
I'm not choking you. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, I just don't want to inflict that kind of thing on anybody.
Right, that's not your thing. Jeff, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Howard?
Yeah.
This guy wants to put down U2 and Sting, and his music sucks. And he wants to act like such a tough guy. I'll come down there and clean the floors up with him.
Well, you
not
see,
a tough guy.
He's not being. He's just giving his opinion.
Yeah, but he acts all tough. He thinks he's real strong and tough.
I don't think I'm strong. I see women lift more weight than me. I just don't like Bono and U2 and Sting. And if you do, great.
And I admire your honesty, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and your opinion's good too, man. But I'm not trying to be some tough guy because I've met tough guys. Like you had Chuck Zito on this show.
Yeah, now Chuck is tough.
That's a tough guy.
Yeah, that's a guy you do not mess around with.
No, that's a guy you call sir and you get well out of his way.
Right.
I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, I would never insult him. Mike, you're on the air. Mike.
Hello.
Poor Mike.
I think Mike's asleep.
Did Mike fall asleep too?
I don't know. Let's see. All right, one more call. Come on, I'm running out of time. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, dude, I've seen this guy in concert so many times, Rollins. I'm a big fan. I've been at a video shoot down in Elizabeth you had a couple years ago for Tearing.
Sure.
That was awesome. And Howard, you want to check
12 hours
out
that day.
What's that?
We played like 12 hours that day.
Oh, it was awesome. Dude, he played the same song. Everybody was into it every time, man. This guy's intense. He's half machine.
Well,
Howard,
he loves what he does. Yeah, go ahead.
Howard, you want to see some tattoos, man? This guy's got awesome back.
Yeah, Henry, you got them all, don't you? Are you sorry you got all
You got
tattooed?
your back
No,
all done up?
I have no regrets, no.
No regrets about tattoos?
No.
Because, I mean, you've got major tattoos. In fact, you're one of the first guys I ever saw. I mean, like, yeah, just random legs. And,
Well, I got some here and there, but not as many as a lot of people I've seen. You know?
And I always thought when I used to see you on stage, I remember watching you, I think it was maybe a Woodstock or something. I don't know what it was. But immediately the shirt comes off, the shorts are on, and I said, well, there's a guy who loves to show off his tattoos.
Oh, no. The way you see me on stage with the shorts on and nothing else, that's all out of function.
Right.
'Cause I used to wear shoes and socks and jeans.
Right.
Until the shoes started rotting from the sweat that accumulates, and it's the only pair of shoes I owned.
Yeah, you sweat like crazy.
Well, yeah,
on
sure.
stage,
And
yeah.
then you're wearing jeans that are soaked in 5 songs, but you're also sleeping in those jeans in the back of a van. So all of a sudden, like lightning bulb in your head, you buy a pair of gym shorts and you lose the shoes and socks because you're doing your laundry on the road in a men's room sink in a Denny's. So you start thinking more practical. So I haven't worn shoes since like 84.
So what kind of tats does he sport? I don't know.
Oh, man.
I
Henry's
got the portrait of you on my back. I got the portrait of Axl on my stomach. And I let major corporations take out ad space on me.
Is
So
that
I've got,
right?
Yeah,
What a great idea.
Pepsi,
I like
Demorex. Yeah.
Imagine at IBM just tattooed across your nipples
That
or
costs
something.
a lot of money, I would
That would be
I would
smart.
do that, yeah.
You would be willing to do that.
No.
Listen, it's great having Henry on the show. It's really good to meet you. I think, I don't know.
Howard, I must say, my man, I'm duly impressed.
Well, I'm impressed,
I thought
too.
I was going to come in here and you were going to do your thing, and I was going to start like just throwing stuff against the wall.
Do what thing?
What is his thing?
I was anxious to meet you, actually.
Oh, well, I was anticipating this. I did not know what to expect, whether you're going to go for like good radio and like, go for some lame move, and I'd have to like, chuck your toilet against the glass.
I wonder what that would have been.
Actually, that would have been good, too.
Yeah, what
Could
would
gotten
you
that
have
through.
done?
What would I have done to you? I wouldn't invite you in here if I didn't like
Well,
you.
no, well, I've just heard you like really decimate people.
Well, yeah, if they're ass wipes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I didn't know how I occurred to you.
No, you're
So
a real
I was
honest
like,
guy. In fact,
okay.
I read your book
there are people
and
who
talked about it on there.
Because you carry a lot of weight. Like my manager.
Right.
For my manager, you are like the great door of like access to America. And for years, he's like, go on, Howard, sir. I'm like, I'm not going on there and getting flayed. He goes, pull your head out. Go on, Howard. And I said, you know what, Richard? I love you. I love your kids. I want to see them get a college education.
But I'm not going on there.
No. I said, for you, this one time I'll do it. And so he flew all the way out here, and he's hopping around like a little boy that I'm sitting here with you now.
Really? Well, no, I just
people who sometimes occur as asswipes before they get in here, and they turn out to be okay people, and nothing happens either.
No, the first time I got turned on to you was there was a documentary on your life, and I was watching. I said, "This guy's hardcore. I mean, he's living the real life. He's not some phony rock star. I mean, you're living the life you portray on stage."
Well, I'm just a guy trying to make it.
No, so I always thought you'd be a great guest, and you were. Henry Rollins' new album, Rollins and the Rhyme, and I don't know.
I just wonder what he imagined would happen to him. I really would like to know.
You never know with us.
I've seen the TV show a couple of times where you have your moron Yahoo friends, and you get some moron stripper in here, and you make her take her clothes off, and of course
that can be good too.
You put the Vaseline thing over the lens, like, well,
got to do that.
Well, how lame? Get a different channel where we can at least see this stuff.
How many channels do you think want me? Give me the channel I should go to. I like that you think I have a choice of channels.
And you go, oh, hey, Howard, I don't like her ass. I'm like, God, this poor woman. But then I thought
she wanted to know the truth.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I thought, well, she signed up for this.
Right. She said to me, "What? No one's honest with me. Tell me what's wrong with me." I said, "Listen, your ass got a lot of cottage cheese in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be straight."
No, and nothing you guys said wasn't the truth. I just thought it was like really harsh and really lowest common denominator.
Right.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing that bright about me.
How depressing. And like, I only watch TV on like nights off in hotels because at home I have a TV but it only gets the DVD player.
Right.
And so I like 2:00, or something. You're on late, and I come home from the show back to the hotel, and I'll watch Howard Stern for like 5 minutes. I'm like, what sandbox are these guys living in? And then when my man goes, go on, Howard, I'm like, why?
You're afraid we're going to have your clothes off evaluating you.
I'm afraid of
do me a favor.
I'm afraid of getting gills and getting a primordial tail stump shooting
and look
out
at
my
you.
ass.
You walked out. There's no gills on you.
No,
Gary
I'm gonna
Garver.
be fine.
Gary Garver, our reporter in California. What is it?
I just want to know, I saw Henry Rollins on Unsolved Mysteries. He got held up, and his roommate got shot and killed.
Is that true? Mm-hmm. And what's your question?
I just wondered if they ever found the guy who killed his roommate.
No, sir, they didn't.
What was this, in college or something?
No, it was a few years ago. Some guys shot and killed my roommate, and who's my very good friend, and they shot at me and missed. So
how many years ago was this?
About 10.
10 years ago, I guess, just because of expenses, you had a roommate.
Well, yeah, my old roommate moved down, and my friend was tired of the hovel he was living in, so I said, why don't you take the front room?
Why were you targeted, do you think?
It's a pretty interesting thing. A few days before the whole thing went down, I just finished a record called The End of Silence, and Rick Rubin, you know Rick Rubin,
friend of mine, yeah,
sure, and great producer. He was a fan, and so he called and said, "Heard your records," and I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I come over and listen?" I go, "Of course." So he comes over to the house with his Rolls Royce,
right? Yeah,
parks it in my neighborhood, which is like a crack neighborhood. It's pretty intense. It's Venice. It's tough.
It's not a great neyborhood.
No, it's not a great place.
Right,
but it's okay if you're local, and I love that neighborhood. So he comes over with that huge Rolls. He leaves my place. This long-haired guy with an early cell phone in his back pocket. Mm-hmm. The whole neighborhood is checking him out. And I wrote in my journal that night, my place is going to get popped.
Because Rick was there flashing the car.
Because the neighborhood saw, because they knew I was the MTV guy. He's that guy. We've seen him on TV.
Right.
But he's cool, so they leave me alone. And then I think that maybe word got around and someone had the misguided thought that there's stuff in that house that's worth something, which is was honestly not the case.
Right. Was the house alarmed? Was it?
No.
You had nothing in there anyway.
I was broke. I mean,
right.
I had like $11,000 publishing advance, and all I knew was I could now pay the rent without like writing my mother a letter.
Right.
And so 3 days later, it went down. And as basically the neighborhood, gets talking, and someone goes, okay. He goes to the supermarket like every night around this time, and his roommate drives that Toyota. And they wait for you to go out. They're waiting in the driveway.
So how did he get killed? I don't understand. When you guys were home?
We were walking back, and all of a sudden there's two guys with two guns in our face, and they said, this is a holdup.
This is in the street.
This is on the sidewalk right in front of the house.
So they had already been in the house?
No. They were hiding in the driveway by the car. They're waiting
so
for
they
us to
wanted
come
to
back.
confront you.
Yeah.
Oh, they were waiting for us. No, it was pre-planned. And they patted us down to see if we had guns, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Right, like you're walking around with a gun.
I don't have a gun.
Right. So they patted you down. You don't have guns. Then they tell you to get in the house?
Yeah, and so I'm the guy with the key. So I'm leading the line of the four of us, and I'm thinking, what can I do to keep us alive? So I know for sure we're dead. We're going to get taken inside, executed, and the place is going to get empty.
But don't most guys just want to rob and get out?
Those are professionals.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been mugged. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I spent my life getting mugged.
Right.
The guy who's yelling and stuff, that's the guy you're not too afraid of. Because he's barking. You know, he's like, his bark is worse than his bite.
Right.
It's the guy who walks up to you like he's about as calm as I am now and goes, check this out. And you look down and there's a gun. That's the guy who's going to smoke you.
So you knew.
And these two guys were like, don't move, don't scream, I'm going to blow your bitch head off. And I knew we were in very grave trouble.
Right. This guy wasn't kidding.
No. And they were super hardcore. And so what happened was they started shooting.
White guys, black guys?
They were black guys.
You think it was racial?
No, I think it was like set up. I think, they said that's where the money is. It's just a neighborhood jacking. But
so when they go in and they say, give us your money, and you go, I don't have any, they get pissed.
I don't know. We didn't get that far. We got to bang, bang, bang.
You mean they just walked you in and shot?
Well, I opened the door and walked in. I had my groceries in my hand. I dropped the groceries on the floor, and I was thinking, what can I do? What can I give them? My mind is spinning. I mean,
Right.
you ever had a gun at your head? It's a new experience. You
Right.
know? And so I was like tripping on the whole thing, thinking it's a dream of some kind. And then I heard shooting, and then the shooting stopped. And my legs took me right out of the back of the house. I ran up the alley, called the cops, was promptly arrested.
You were arrested?
Yeah, well, I fit the description of the guy I was calling in.
Let me ask you a question,
And
though.
so my friend was shot and killed.
So you're saying, so your back was to these guys. You heard shots. Mm-hmm. I guess you heard your friend drop.
No, I just heard shots.
You didn't, and you just ran when you heard the shots.
After
which
they
was
were
smart.
over. No, the shots came to an end. I just stood there for a second and went, oh, okay, wham, off I went.
Now, why do you think they let you get away? Do you think they realized that they had a shot?
No, they didn't let me get away. The detective came with me the next day. He goes, okay, because my groceries are still standing where they were.
Yeah.
Crime scene hasn't been touched. My friend has been moved away. And so they said, okay, stand where you were standing. I said, okay, here I am between the two grocery bags. And they go, check out the path of the two bullets. This one missed you by an inch on your left side, and this one missed you by about 2 inches on your right side. That guy was trying to kill you. And that is the most intense thing that's ever been said to me.
But do you think that the robbers saw you run?
No, I wasn't running. I was standing there literally with my...
Why did they stop shooting is the question.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand.
Because I think they were... The reason I got missed, they were probably shooting on the fly. That's my
As
theory.
they were walking backwards. Running.
Yeah, I think something went awry. Maybe someone came out of a door and they went abort, just started blazing. Because my back was to the whole thing.
They
so
never got inside. They started shooting at the doors.
Right, the whole thing happened at the front porch. I walked in ahead of them because I'm the sucker with the key. So everything I'm telling you is assumption. I've gone through it many times in my head trying to figure it out.
And this was a close friend of yours.
He's my good friend. He was a good guy.
Is that urban myth about the Tupperware and you keep his brain in a Tupperware? About 10 people have told me that.
Well, I had to clean up the lawn and front porch had his splattered remains all over the place because his parents were coming and I didn't think they should see that.
Right.
And so I dug up the soil around where his head had hit and I kept it.
Now,
wow.
Hey, Howard, I got a question because I was reading this story, which is very intense. Didn't you end up having some sort of a beef with the guy's dad? You were irritated that he went on television?
Well, I think the guy's dad lost his son, so he was a distraught man.
Right.
And he said some things that he probably didn't mean.
About you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he definitely said some things that weren't true. And so...
Like?
Well... That I knew these people and I had something to do with it, which is thoroughly insane. But I can dig grief because I was in a lot of it myself.
Right.
And so he said some things, and I called him. I said, unless you want a lot of trouble, legally,
cut it out.
Cut the crap.
Right.
Because I'm not the guy to be yelling at. Not because I'm a tough guy. Just because
you almost lost your life.
Well, I'm not at fault here.
Right.
I didn't do that thing you said I did. So tell the truth. and don't,
Right.
what you're saying isn't right.
You were having a hard time as it was.
Were you
Yeah,
not
sure.
friendly
Yeah.
with the family beforehand, or was this?
Oh, I had no problems with them.
Yeah.
Then the guy started saying this stuff. It's like, man, what are
They
you?
probably freaked.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
That's a freaky thing.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, you're looking for somebody to blame.
That's got to be the most chilling story ever.
Well, it definitely is a bend in the road.
Do
But,
they say?
definitely
Is it
gives
true
you a
what they
different
say?
Understanding on life.
Is it true what they say though? When you think you're about to die, that your whole life flashes in front of you.
Nothing like that happened. But it definitely put a lot of things in perspective for me. For instance, like your fan who called a moment ago and said he's going to wipe the floor with me.
Yeah.
That kind of talk doesn't really hold any water with me at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's nonsense.
It just doesn't trip me.
Right.
After what I've been through and what I have physically done to other males out there in the world, after all that, I don't lose a second of sleep. You got to come on with a little stronger gear than that.
Wow. Well, you're certainly fascinating.
Only because it's just perspective.
Well, that's a heavy story. Henry Rollins' new album is Rollins in the Rye. That's freaky. I can't imagine what that's like to have a gun
I
to
don't
your
want
head.
to.
I can't even.
I
I
don't
just hope
want to.
nothing
Can't
that
go there.
remotely like that happens to you, because it's not cool.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, we should really be watching the gun laws and be taking a sterner, harder look at all of that freedom that Charlton Heston thinks we should have, because some people can't handle that kind of freedom.
You're not one of those gun freaks. You don't own guns, and
No.
no.
But I think if you give a gun to a guy like Charlton Heston, he's not going to go take it out and do the wrong thing with it. Most
Right.
people go to the target range and they keep it around so the family doesn't get invaded. But it's a gun that got my friend killed. It's a gun that got those kids killed at Santee High. And that's got to stop. I mean,
But don't you always think that, if you take the guns off the street, criminals still get them?
oh yeah, no, it's a loaded topic, and I could debate on either side of it, because I'm into your rights and all that. But but who's into
Nobody's into getting shot.
the bad stuff,
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what the answer is.
Henry's an interesting dude. I'll tell you what the answer is. Go buy his album. Then he will get out of the neighborhood and get a better house. And then he won't be attacked anymore. Are you still in that same neighborhood?
Oh, no.
You're out of there.
You kind of move out of it.
Smart move. Henry, great seeing you here. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
sir.
in, man. And we'll be back with the news right after these words.
Henry, I think Casey wanted you to do a quick ID before you leave, if that was all right.
What's the ID I'm doing?
He's getting it right now, so I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So were you surprised at how well everything went in there? I know.
Oh, well, quite honestly, I thought he was going to try and wind me up so I'd have to, do some stupid thing I'd regret later. But actually, he was really cool to me. So, I was wrong, and I was impressed. He was cool to me. I quite like the guy now.
Did you like him before?
Not really. Didn't dislike him. I just don't really pay attention to the show. For instance, when I came in today, and there's the whole Kelsey Grammer conversation, that kind of stuff, I got no interest in listening to. Doesn't do a thing for me. Didn't even do a thing for me when I was 12. So I heard that, and I was like, man, if I have to go in and listen to that for 15 minutes, it's just going to put a dent in my already uphill day. So I didn't know what to expect. And I've seen the guy a couple of times on TV. I don't watch much TV.
So it surprised you?
Oh, absolutely. And I had a very good time. I think the guy is very cool.
Well, thanks for coming down.
Oh, yeah, it was a good experience. Sure.
Henry, is it cool if we go down and cut an ID real quick?
Yeah, sure. Great. Well, you sure get a lot of shitty bands platinum records, man. I've never got it.
Interested in a Toyota certified used Camry or Solara?
I don't know. If I get you to stand over here, we just face the cameras.
Use a 58 for IDs?
Yeah, why? Too good?
No, I use this for vocals when I do albums. I just think you guys have a better budget.
No.
Oh, come on.
Use a 58.
Biggest show in America, and no Sennheiser? Okay, what's the copy?
So, Henry, we just write silly things for when people come in and stuff like that. And if you're not comfortable reading it, that's fine.
Let's see it.
Here you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, like the one I heard Kelsey read about shaving Howard's stomach or something. Oh, yeah, I thought that was pretty well written. Oh, let me just read it once. Let's see. Hi, this is singer, actor, writer, performer Henry Rollins. Good thing I know who I am. You're listening to radio personality, to a radio personality. Here's not a movie star, TV producer Howard Stern. A man whose ego is bigger than my biceps. Okay, I'm ready. And okay, are you okay? Hi, this is singer, actor, writer, and performer Henry Rollins. You are listening to radio personality, TV personality, author, and movie star, TV producer, the great Howard Stern, a man whose ego is bigger than my biceps.
Great. And also, Henry, if you could just introduce yourself and talk about your experience today meeting Howard, or just if you wanted to riff on anything.
Okay, to the mic or to the camera?
To the mic.
Okay. Let's see. It is the 15th of March. It's 9:45 in the morning. I've just come away from hanging out with Howard Stern. My first time with Howard. And quite honestly, I was anticipating his attempt to belittle me or somehow humiliate me. So I was kind of gearing up for some kind of verbal confrontation. And quite unexpectedly, he was civil, respectful, intelligent, and gave me room to move. And so I must say that it was a good experience, and I'm impressed, and I definitely have to remind myself not to judge others until I meet them, you know. So, very cool.
All right, perfect. Great.
Did you just say, hi, this is Henry Rollins?
Sure, hi, this is Henry Rollins. Stay tuned.
Good. Henry, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate it. Sorry I fucked up your Viagra
Oh,
story.
it's okay. Me take Viagra.